Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first class of the course of Stubbornness, of the pattern of stubbornness. How are you doing? Are you ready for it? So, if you are new to my classes or to Renshui, I would like to invite you to watch some classes that I have on YouTube. Mainly the older ones, the one about the pattern of hiding and avoiding, and one about the hard quality of trust, because they have some foundations, some terms, and some important things that you might need to know to help you to come and to do this course. Because they are there, I will not repeat them again. So you are very welcome to watch those classes. They are free on YouTube. So today we're gonna start with the pattern of stubbornness, one of the 10 fundamental patterns that we learn in the Renshui system. And I will walk you through it from a more soft presentation that we're gonna do now to a deeper level through all these 10 classes. It is important to understand also that although there are 10 classes and is about 20 hours just talking about the pattern of stubbornness, it's just a beginning and does not cover the full information about this pattern. So it's important that you keep applying everything that you learn through this course so that you can have a better and deeper understanding, and that you can even have your own realizations and transformations through this course. It's very important that you try to apply everything that we share in this course, to check also the validity of what you learn, and to make it a useful tool in your life. Theory without practice has no value at all. In Renshui, we want to manifest everything that we learn in life, and to do that, we need to apply everything that we learn. Here in this course, like all the other classes that I do, the main way of transmitting information, it will be through the heart-to-heart connection. So I invite you also to be in a very good state with your heart and keep it open so that you can receive this information. Because words have a lot of limitations, and I'm not English native. So I do have my own limitations to talk in this language, even on my own language in Portuguese, and even if I will be an expert in my own language, the words will not be enough to cover all the information that I want to transmit to you and share with you. So I invite you to stay in your heart and open your heart to the information. And as soon you receive it, the information, start to apply so that you can have a better and true understanding of this information in your real life and your real life challenges. That is where you want to see these deep changes. So welcome everyone to this course. Just going to check here the messages. Okay, seems all is okay. So before we start every class, we build a chi field and we unify the hearts of everyone that is participating in this class. And we do that to facilitate our learning and our growth and the sharing of information. To do it is very simple. You just need to follow my voice instructions and do or try to manifest what I transmit to you. We'll do it all together. First, we build a chi field, and then we enter the process of unifying our hearts and also connect with our true self and also connect with the universe to help us in this journey of uplifting ourselves and transforming our patterns. So let's start. Adjust yourself to a good position with your spine straight, your body centered. Look straight forward and slowly bring your awareness inward. Close your eyes and relax. Relax. If you feel any tension, any discomfort, just let go and relax. Relax the head and face. Relax the neck, the shoulders, arms, and hands. Relax the chest and upper back. Relax the abdomen and lower back. Relax the hips, legs, and feet. Relax the whole body from the top of the head to the toes, from inside out. Relax your heart. Relax your mind. Feel all the structures of your being completely relaxed. You are so relaxed that everything is melting away, opening up. Your body became pure chi. In this deep state of relaxation, your awareness becomes alive. Awareness inside of the body. Feel the emptiness and spaciousness within. With your awareness, go deep inside of your body, inside of the cells, atoms, subatomic particles. You go so deep, so small, that there is no space for more. And contemplate all the peace and quietness there. The void has no opposition, no boundaries, no limitations. And through the void, expand your awareness out in all directions, becoming one with the universe. We expand and dissolve ourselves in the void of the universe. And we become so big that there is no space for more. And contemplate all the peace and quietness there. And bring the awareness back to the body, calm and peaceful. Go deep into your heart and open your heart to all the universe with reverence and utmost conjing. And let the bright universe nourish your heart with compassion and love. Feel relaxed, free, and joyful. Chi is flowing harmoniously and smoothly. Go deep into your heart and feel your pure heart. And connect your heart with my own heart. And also with Yonsei, Melissa, and everyone in this chi field. Let's connect and unify our hearts. And always remember the strength of our hearts unified is exponential. So together we're gonna connect and manifest the five Shin, or the five essential heart qualities. We start to connect and manifest the state of unconditional trust. And give trust to everyone. Receive trust from everyone. Dissolve yourself into trust and be trust. Now connect and manifest the state of unconditional openness. And give openness to everyone. Receive openness from everyone. Dissolve yourself into openness and be openness. Now connect and manifest the state of unconditional love. And give love to everyone. Receive love from everyone. Dissolve yourself into love. You are love. Now connect and manifest the state of unconditional gratitude. And give gratitude to everyone. Receive gratitude from everyone. Dissolve yourself into gratitude. And be gratitude. Now connect and manifest the state of unconditional gonging, or true respect and humility. And give gonging to everyone. Receive gonging from everyone. Dissolve yourself into Ganjin and be Ganjin. Feel the wonderful five shin in your heart, your pure heart. And in this state of purity, open up and connect with your true self. Surrender to your true self and invite it to manifest in your heart. Give it unconditional freedom to manifest all its awareness, true understanding, realization, wisdom, all its bright light, clarity, and power. Surrender to your true self. Your consciousness, heart, and true self are now unified, and in this state of unification, open once more to the universe and surrender unconditionally to the universe. Surrender your consciousness. Surrender your heart. Surrender your true self. So that in each pattern and thought, in each feeling and emotion, in each awareness, through understanding, realization, and wisdom, we become one with the infinite love and wisdom of the universe, following the laws of the universe to help us to accomplish the mission of Zidu Duren. Uplift yourself and help the others. We are now ready to learn together and grow together. We can now start to come back and gently open your eyes. Thank you, everyone, for building this beautiful chi field and for your heart connection. We are now ready to start. Uh, so we gonna work on the pattern of stubbornness, one of the 10 fundamental patterns of the consciousness that Yuan Tse taught us about. There are more patterns, there are thousands or even millions of patterns in our consciousness. Some are more superficial, some are more in the root level. And these 10 fundamental patterns are some patterns that are at the very root level. Working on them can help us to change our life in a very meaningful and a very deep sense. These patterns are quite common in everyone, although most of people are not aware of them. And the pattern of stubbornness is one that is quite easy to identify. The pattern of stubbornness is a pattern that makes us to hold on to a view or to something in the way that is not healthy anymore. It's different from things like discipline or determination. Stubbornness has to do when we understand that the things need to change, or that what we are holding on to is not right anymore, and still we hold on to that. We don't want to change, and we don't want to see the things in a different way. That might have to do with many reasons, and it has been an evolutive process also, but one of the reasons could be the need that humans have to feel safe, to feel right, to feel loved, or having self-esteem, or to feel confident, or to feel that we are in control of something, or even to make a power demonstration, make a stand in a situation. Like the other people don't have control over you, the other people don't influence you, and many other things. The reasons why this pattern happen, like any other patterns, they are meant to help us to cope with some situations in life, to satisfy our basic human needs, and to help us to be in the good place in life. The problem with some patterns is that at the stage when they were created, we have a lack of information. We don't have a whole picture of a certain situation, and they reflect that. They reflect that lack of information. They reflect ignorance. They don't reflect totality. They don't reflect wisdom. And because they don't have the full information of a situation, they can cause us problems. Like an example, a very known example of a very stubborn idea that is present in the whole world, that many people believe that money brings happiness. What we are searching for happiness. How do we search for it? By having more money. And that can lead us to a process of even develop, if we are very stubborn with this idea, that can develop another pattern like greediness, or even self-centeredness, or competitiveness, or many other things can come through. Just with that simple idea, by holding strongly to that idea that money brings happiness. We, as life cultivators, we know that money is a tool, an essential tool in our society, as it is right now, can help us to afford resources and services, but cannot buy happiness. We can have all the pleasures of the world. We can have all that we want, and still be unhappy. But because at some stage people do not understand from where really happiness comes from, and they found out that by having money they could satisfy things that were making them unhappy, like being hungry. With money they could buy food, they could buy clothes to become warm, they could buy services like education or medical care, and those improve their life quality and give us a short sense of happiness or pleasure. We could buy good food. The good food gives us a tasteful pleasure, and that makes us to feel some joy. We can buy entertainment, and that entertainment can make us to feel some joy. And very often that is confused with happiness. But those things don't last a very long time. But because of stubbornness, that idea stay with us and make the pursuing of happiness associate with the pursuing of money. But could be any other thing. Could be relationships, could be status, could be being successful, could be any other thing that we perceived can give us some happiness. Even when we have a lot of that idea and we still have not found the happiness on those things, we still hold onto the idea and keep going. That is a very clear sign of stubbornness. So the patterns do that. They don't have complete information. And when we don't have a complete information about something, we cannot make a fair judgment or a fair action through that. And that is what happened with all the unhealthy patterns that we describe in the Renshui system. They reflect ignorance. But then it comes a problem. If we admit our ignorance as human beings, do we feel worthy? Do we feel valuable? Do we feel good enough? Do we feel self-esteem when we say that we are ignorant? Do we feel self-love if we feel that we are ignorant? No one likes to feel ignorant. No one likes to be seen as ignorant. But if we don't admit that we don't know the things, we cannot learn more. We cannot gain wisdom. So, stubbornness can help us to have a false idea that we know in order for us to achieve that feeling of value, that feeling of even self-esteem. When people are able to find a solution for a problem, they feel good about themselves. If they are very good doing a skill or a task, they feel good about themselves. It's quite funny because there was this comedians in Portugal that they make this joke, the greatest guy of the village, of their own village. So there was a small village, one guy that felt the greatest guy of the village. It was small. There was not much to compare with, but he felt that was the greatest one. If he will look to all the world, he will not be great at all, but that ignorance of the rest of the world make him to feel happy and important. And we see this kind of attitude everywhere. People have this need to feel important. But how important we are, how big we are, is always relative. And we ignore the ones that are greater than us. I remember also this in the martial art worlds, that some people will create their own federation, and they will make a world championship, a world tournament. But on that federation, there were just like 3 teams. And they will say, I'm the champion of the world, or I'm the second best in the world, or I'm the third best in the world. But there were just 3 people. How ignorant is that? In order for them to feel better about themselves, they ignore the rest of the world. And they hold on to that idea. They might be very stubborn about that. No one needs to win over the world to feel good about themselves. No one needs to be the best on this or that to feel good about themselves. In reality, the true happiness, true self-worth, true self-love, true self-value, self-trust, etc., does never come from outside. But our patterns don't know that. They ignore that reality. They have their own beliefs, their own references that don't reflect reality. They reflect ignorance. And they are very stubborn on that and make them to feel good. When we look at ourselves and I tell you, I am ignorant, you are ignorant, how you feel about that? There is some defensive mechanism inside of you that comes out. Could you feel very happy and have a lot of self-love for yourself, a sense of self-worthy, a strong self-esteem, and still admit that you are ignorant? I think I have just triggered the stubbornness in some of you, of your patterns, not on you. So the patterns play a huge role in our life. In fact, the patterns are what are controlling the life of people. I will not even say most of people, because that is not fair. All of the people in the world, without exception, they are influenced and controlled by patterns. Some with more or less degree, but the patterns play this strong role in life. In fact, we can only start to have a shift on that process when we reach the stage of self-realization. So when we are able to realize our true self and bring our true self to guide our life, to control our life. And that is when the patterns lose the grip on the guidance of our life. But that doesn't mean that when we reach self-realization, when we are able to have our true self guiding our life, that doesn't mean that all the patterns will disappear and that our true self will be 100% in charge of our life. What does it mean is that our true self is at least at 51% of control of our life. But still, there are some influence from the patterns of the consciousness. Because we humans, we express and we interact through our consciousness and our heart. And those have quite a lot of patterns. So patterns reflect ignorance, and the antidote for ignorance is wisdom. Wisdom comes from our true self, which is an internal process to manifest that wisdom. Is a process that we need to be aware of and learn about it, because most of humans have lost it. But the wisdom does not come from a book, although some books might have been written with wisdom. Wisdom comes from inside out. So this makes a huge change in life, right? And you can easily see this process if someone that has very strong and healthy patterns might be in front of a lot of wisdom in the best book of wisdom ever written, from the highest wisdom person in the world that has ever existed, and that person will not be able to see wisdom there. On the other hand, if someone has reached wisdom, we'll see wisdom everywhere. Not because the world suddenly became wise, but because this process is coming from inside out. The source of wisdom is within us, not outside. And here comes another pattern where we are very stubborn on. The external mind oriented. Because of the stubbornness on this pattern, we are searching for most of the solutions for our life externally. It's true. You need to eat, you find food outside of you. Of course. The needs of the body are the needs of the body. But the body is not the source of what we can call your Jingshen or your spiritual needs. The body is not the source of happiness, or is not the source of love, or is not the source of trust, or is not the source of wisdom, or is not the source of well-being. And is not also the source of health. Although we need some tools to have a healthy body, some requirements, the health does not come from the body. The body reacts to what you do with it. So it's not the body it's the body just reacting to your consciousness, to your decisions, to your desires, your attachments, your rejections, etc. If you have healthy patterns that create healthy habits for the body will react to that. If you have the opposite, the body will also react to that. Of course, the body does influence the consciousness, and the consciousness influences the body, but the source of health has never been the body. Even if we have a very healthy body, genetically or by some epigenetics in life, we have had the luck of having a very healthy body. If we have unhealthy patterns, the body will go down. We might have the most healthier body in the world, or the most potential for health with the body in the world, but if we decide to have a lot of excess in life, like taking a lot of drugs, taking a lot of things that are unhealthy for our body, the body cannot resist to that. If you put poison in the body was not the body decided to put the poison, it was you. So it's important to understand this external oriented mind and the stubbornness that we have with that. Because we have learned by this process of identifying ourselves with the body to satisfy our needs to look externally. We need food. We go externally for food. We need shelter. We go externally to search for that shelter. We have other physiological needs. We go always externally to search for those needs. We need to interact with other human beings. We need to have social needs. We go externally to satisfy those needs. So we start to create this constantly externally searching for the solution for our problems or for our most deep needs, like what we call in the Ranchway the high five things that are very important for humans: the health, well-being, wisdom, contribution, and oh, sorry, I forgot about the other one. But all these needs that are very intrinsic to us, because of this pattern of externally searching for things, because we have those references, we are searching for them in the wrong place. Those things are inward. And even if I'm telling you this, you might have resistance to that. No one has ever found love in external things. When we feel love, love comes from inside. It's not that love is jumping around and suddenly we have it, jumps inside of us and we have it. Love is inside of us, but we have created conditions to manifest it, and we associate those external conditions to love. But that is not love. We might feel love when we see a little cat or a little baby. But the source of love is not that baby. The love that we feel comes from inside out. We might feel gratitude when someone gives us something that is important to us. That condition might trigger the gratitude that is inside of us. And so on. So we do have this strong believe that we can satisfy many of our needs just by going externally. But the most important needs can never be done, and that creates a sense of incompleteness and the sense that there is something missing in our life. No matter how much successful we are, how much money we have, how much skillful we are, those things will not give us the happiness that we are searching for. Can give us joy, can give us satisfaction, can give us pleasure, but that is not happiness. Another aspect where stubbornness is quite powerful is on the process of identification that we create about ourselves and about the others. In order to create these reference points in life, to organize information in our life and to help us to make decisions, we look at someone or something or even ourselves, and by perceiving some aspects of that person, we make a judgment of that person or even ourselves. A person has done a mistake. That person is stupid. Is that true? But we might believe it. And just because that person has done one mistake, we might see the completeness of that person as a stupid person. Or a person is constantly thinking about money. So we can see that person just think about money, and or we see that person has just thinking about money, and we label it as a greedy person or a person that just cares about money. Is that true? Of course not. Yeah. Most likely that person is searching for happiness and not money. And so on. We just see a part of a person, an aspect that manifests, that we perceive in our life, and we make a judgment, and we put a label on that person or a label in ourselves. And we get very attached to that. We become very stubborn with that. We don't want that anything proves us that we are wrong because we need to feel right to feel good. If I'm right, I feel good. So I need to be always right. And this is a quite ridiculous thing to do, because first, when we look to someone, we don't see that person. We see what our patterns, what our perceptions can perceive in the patterns of that person. We don't see the person at all. Half or even more than half we see ourselves, and the other part we see a part of some pattern of that person, but not the person. And then we label the person, we label ourselves, we create a dynamic relationship with that person based on that judgment, and we become very fixed on that, very rigid, very stubborn on that idea of how other people are and how we are, or how we should behave with that person, etc. Because that gives us a sense of control, a sense of safety, a sense of being right, a sense of predicting what will happen. It can help us to have expectations about the situation, etc. And we are just looking at an illusion, because neither yourself, neither you are the patterns that are perceiving the information of that person, neither the other person is the patterns that you can perceive on them. We are not the patterns, we are not our bodies, we are not the look that we have. But we can make that judgment based on that. And sometimes it's quite fast, because it's how our consciousness works. Our consciousness organizes information and makes information relative to other information that we have. So we create one reference point, and when we create another reference point, and then we create a perception by bringing those reference points, that could be 3 or 4 or 10 or whatever. We create a reference, all of these reference points, we create an image, an idea about that. And then we store that idea, and then we process it with our patterns. That, again, I remember, it's important to remind that our patterns are reflecting ignorance, and we create a reaction to that situation. And as you can see, will never be a very wise reaction, or will have a lot of limitations. Doesn't mean that it's harmful, but will not reflect what it is. Will just reflect a relative perception of what we think it is. But we create a label. And once that label is created, it's very difficult to get out from that. And that can create a huge problem. Because if I have a fixed idea of someone, and I don't want to, and I'm stubborn with that idea, that will affect how our relationship goes, but also will make it very difficult for the other person to grow when they are in our presence. We know, and this is a very popular saying, that the first impression is the most important one. And we are always having this first impression. We see a person, even before that person talk to us or interact with us, we create an impression. And that impression is enough to label that person. We don't know anything about that person, but we label that person. And the pattern of stubbornness makes us very important to keep that label there, because that gives us a sense of control, a sense of predicting what can happen, a sense of safety somehow. But does that reflect the truth? Some people have been together for decades, for 50 years, even more than that. And they have been very close and interacting with each other every day, do they know each other completely? Of course not. If someone does not know him or herself, how can pretend that knows the others? So why do we become so fixed in these ideas? Why are we so ignorant and we don't admit it? Why we just need an impression to make a label of someone and get sticked with that impression for the rest of our life? Why do we need that? What are we searching for? And how about yourself? Almost everyone has created about themselves labels from early childhood. And those labels were basically done by the impressions that other people have about yourself. So, how are caretakers, parents, family, friends, neighbors were seeing you? And that could be quite complex, of course, because uh, depending of what authority they have over you, that perceptions could have more or less influence. But they create an external identity about you from the perceptions and ideas that they have about you. And you might get that label might get fixed and very stubborn for the rest of your life. This is an innocent label, but it's quite funny because the parents, no matter how old their kids get, they always see them as their child, as their children. Because that was the first impression that they got. They were weak babies. That they have the tendency to do problems if the parents will not control them. Many times that labels get fixed for the rest of their lives. And of course, on the other side, the child will grow, will change, and being seen in that way might make it very difficult to grow. So we have all these kind of labels that are put on us from the external world that sometimes we might assume them as our identity. And they go from different things, from, of course, family and the social group that is close to us, to our country, the country where we have grown, to any human perception that they might have from you, even an unknown person that just passed through you on the street and you never talk, we never say anything to each other, and probably you just see each other that time, but that person will have a perception of you, will share an information on their thoughts that will build your identity. But even how, not just humans, but even how the other beings in this planet interact with us and perceive us, like our dogs see us. We know that our pets are quite incredible beings, and normally the dogs look at us with a lot of love and trust. So that can help us to create an identity of being loved and trust. And of course the pets, but also how the mosquito look at us, like their food, a supply of food for them. And we know that, and we don't like it. This is why when a mosquito is sucking our blood, we want to kill it. And that idea might stick stubborn with us. The stubbornness makes things very fixed, even when the world is changing, even when the things are evolving. Stubbornness still make the things fixed to that idea or perception that was created in the beginning. People are afraid of many things, and some fears can evolve into other things, including to hate and rage, and also to things like depression or other things. But people, being aware or not of it, they are afraid of a lot of things. Some very frequent fears: the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of the unknown, the fear of persecution, the fear of feel alone, and many other things. But also there are other fears: the fear of safety, the fear of being sick, the fear of not being seen, the fear of not being worthy, not being loved, and so on. There are many, many, many fears that motivate a lot of our actions and a lot of our patterns. And stubbornness is very close to those fears. It's highly connected with the fear. If we look there are not many reasons to feel fear, or the fears should not be a long-term state. The fear should happen when we need to get out from a situation that is in fact dangerous. And once we are out of danger, the fear should disappear. If we look in the jungle, when the gazelles are eating quite calmly in the savannah, they are at peace. But when the lion comes, they are afraid, they run. When the lion stops the hunting, they just go back to the normal state. This is the main purpose of the fear, to help us to survive. And they say, I read that in psychology they refer that humans only have 3 natural fears. That was the fear of the heights, the fear of fire, and there was a third one that I don't remember. But basically our fears that of things that can kill us. Humans have developed, due to their reference system, other fears, that they feel like we can die, even. Like humans being as social beings, if they are rejected, if they are abandoned, they experience a fear that goes to the survival instinct. Because when humans are alone, the chances to survive are less. But that doesn't mean that we'll not survive. But we have that fear, which can be triggered with very simple things, like someone does not like how we look. That fear can be triggered and it can be very stubborn. It's enough that we can have thousands of people liking us and approving us, but it's enough that there is one person that is not even important for our life that says something negative about ourselves, and we feel rejected, to trigger that fear and stay with us for the rest of our life, or at least for a very long term. So the fears and stubbornness, they go side by side. But not just that, other feelings, other emotions can remain very intense for a long term because of stubbornness. Uh, when we are in experiencing fear, the fear triggered two main types of reactions. That is the flight and fight mode. If we decide to hide and avoid, we avoid. We are always looking through our shoulders, searching in this alert state for the danger and try to avoid it. And we feel safe when we are not avoiding it, when we are not in the presence of danger. But that is a complex situation. And at some stage, the fight mode can come through. And the fight mode normally is associated with anger. And so that anger that goes to the fight mode can give us quite some amazing feelings, like the feeling of power, the feeling of being able to overcome the danger. Not just overcome the danger, but conquer the danger. So make the danger to become submissive to us, under our control. When we manifest anger, we become the danger and the others run away. So it creates a quite powerful sense of control and a sense of being able to do something, a sense of not being weak, but be powerful. And also it will help us to justify what we are doing by the sense of feeling right. And that sense of feeling right comes with stubbornness. So when we experience this anger and we feel that our anger reaction is right, stubbornness might be very present in that pattern, to the point that every time that we experience some sort of challenge, of some sort of danger, some sort of doubt, some sort of instability, any kind of challenge that can come through our life, even the challenge of not having what we want, uh, together with stubbornness, anger might be activate, and we can give in a constant state of anger that give us a lot of sensation of power and freedom and being in control, and that can be highly addictive. And the stubbornness pattern is very good searching for references and arguments and facts that justify our anger and justify how we act. Things like picking up a small mistake of someone and exaggerate that mistake in order to justify our anger towards that person. And then, of course, can come with more complex things like having overgeneralization. We generalize a person or a group of persons to an action or to a label. And because they belong to that label, we can justify our anger because they are bad, they are dangerous, they are the cause of our problems. So we need to throw the anger towards them, and it's fair. This is how we should treat them. Anger does not make people powerful. It just makes a very good path for suffering. Continuous cycle of suffering that has no end until someone is strong enough to gain more wisdom and free themselves from the stubbornness of anger. In fact, we, through the history of humanity, we have seen so many real life exemplifications of how these cycles of anger have no end. To the point that some groups of people have killed a huge amount of other group of people just because they were from another group of people. And they are keep going stubborn like that. And then, of course, the victims will want revenge because they also feel anger. They want also this power of feeling free, of feeling independent, of feeling safe. And these cycles keep perpetuating for even thousands of years. Anger does not disappear by killing anyone. When someone is killed, the body disappears, but the anger don't. And the anger will return. It becomes very stubborn. When our reference system tell us that this true anger that we can overcome the fears, that becomes a very, very stubborn pattern. Because it's true, if someone is not listening to us and we express anger, that person might look like it's listening to you. When someone is rejecting us and we react with anger, sometimes that person seems afraid of rejecting you, so it might look like he's not rejecting you anymore, but it's just an external appearance, because that person will reject you even worse. It's quite fascinating, because humans have created this very stubborn idea that through anger they can solve some problems, some fears. But what we have seen through the whole process of many examples in humanity is that anger just aggravates what we are afraid of. If someone uses anger to control other people, sooner or later that person will lose all the control. The other people will rebel against. Or even if they are controlling the actions and the body of that person, they are losing that person. The person might be physically there, but it's just an appearance. It's not really there anymore. If fear was the source of anger, in order to protect ourselves, in order to face the fears, etc., we experienced anger. Anger will create more fear in the ones that are receiving it, which will lead to similar reactions. Fear leads to anger. Anger makes fear, and fear will makes anger again. But that idea of anger being a solution, because it feels good, it feels right, it feels powerful, it feels the sense of control, and give us a lot of other things that we might be looking for. But at the same time, it's not real. It's an illusion. It's a very good exemplification of ignorance. So stubbornness stick to one thing and doesn't want to change that thing. And it's a very big problem, because one of the main laws of the universe is the law of change. And that means that everything will change. Doesn't matter if it's in a short period, if it's a long-term period, the things will change. Nothing in the universe is static. It's a constant movement, a constant dance of things, of actions, reactions, cause and effects, resonances, and other things that are happening in the universe. So when the reality is like this, what is the place of a pattern that does not allow change? Isn't that a huge mistake? Is a very direct confrontation against the law of change. So imagine the balance of the fight. In one side, you have the universe full of wisdom and power. On the other side, we have a pattern that doesn't want to change. What are the chances of winning? Nothing. We cannot win with that pattern. Although it makes the sensation like we are winning something, if I'm stubborn in an argument, even if I'm wrong, I feel like I'm right. I feel that I have win. I feel that I'm the best. I feel that I have the control. But it doesn't matter what you feel. That is not a reality. That is just an illusion created by that pattern. And how about stubbornness on the other patterns? Because we know that, and if you have been doing Renschwe for some time, you are very aware how difficult it is to change patterns. You might be aware of the patterns. You might see the patterns happening in your life. You might understand the limitations that some patterns have and the problems that they are causing you. You might really want to change them, but they don't change. Why is that? Stubbornness is behind all of that. The patterns by nature are stubborn because they are fixed ways to react to information. We know that our consciousness, in order to be more efficient and fast to react to information, create patterns so that we can jump from the process of analyzing and processing the information. We receive the information, we react. The patterns do everything automatically, so they become fixed. And because they become fixed, they become stubborn. So what happens then? You want to change the pattern, but the pattern is stubborn. And again, why the pattern is stubborn? Because it's fixed, is a way that to react to the information that gives us a sense of control, gives a sense of safety, gives a sense of power, gives a sense of knowledge, a sense of value, a sense of self-esteem, gives all this kind of sense when the pattern is fixed. Oh, there is a problem. I know everything about that problem. I will solve it. Then the results might not be what we want, but we keep insisting because that is the solution for the problem. We keep reacting in the same way, over and over again. And we teach that to the next generation so that they do exactly in the same stubborn way like we do. And when change comes through, it becomes very scary. Why? Because it takes us from this sense of knowing everything. Oh, there is something that I don't know. And that is scary. There is another way to do the things. That can be scary. Understanding that we did not know everything. Understanding that we had ignorance. Understanding that we were doing some mistakes in life. That is very scary for the ego. So the patterns are very, very stubborn. But then it comes a problem, because the things change. And even if a pattern was helpful in a certain stage of our life when it was created, that doesn't mean that will be helpful forever. When a baby is hungry, just needs to cry, and the parents or the caretakers will give him food or her food. That is how they learn to deal with hunger. If that pattern was stubborn and will remain the same, imagine that when someone is an adult and every time that is hungry starts to cry and do nothing to nourish him or herself, just waiting for the parents to come and give him food, is ridiculous, right? But this is how many patterns are. Let's see the pattern of greediness that says the more we have, the better, no matter how much we have, is never enough. So we can go into things of being greedy for money, being greedy for relationships, being greedy for food, being greedy for social networks, being greedy for approval, and so on. It could have been useful in sometimes, like when people were harvesting food in summer. They need to harvest as much as possible to save it for winter, where the plants were not giving food because of the cold weather. This is just an example. On those times, being greedy, having more than we need just for the summer, could be useful. because there will be a time when we don't have a way to access to food, and we need that extra for those times. But when we bring that other situations, and we have already more than enough, and we keep asking for more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and we have already enough for millions of people, but we feel that we don't have enough. That is silly. It's not very different from an adult crying for food and waiting for the parents to give it. Or the pattern of fixed expectations too. We expect the others behave the way I expect them to behave. The way I believe they should behave. And we could do that same for us. Maybe in some stages, like the baby crying and expect that the parents will give them food, was kind of right. But when you grow up and start to cry, and you are an adult with kids, and you are waiting for your parents to come and give you food, is silly. So on. This applies to all the patterns. The pattern of overgeneralization is the same, the pattern of negativity, the pattern of self-centeredness, the pattern of hiding and avoiding. All the patterns have this strong stubbornness that the things have changed from the time they were created, but the patterns have not changed, so they are not fit anymore for the new reality. And that can give us a lot of problems in life. So it's important to have this understanding. The world change, we need to change. There is no fixed way to live life. Life happens as we go, and the changes, we need to adapt to them and learn from every change. When we learn from every change, when we are open to the change, our awareness will expand. When our awareness expands, we create space to learn more about life. When we learn more about life, with having a true understanding of what is going on from different perspectives, we might have realization. We might get closer to the reality, to the essence of what it is. And with that, we can generate wisdom. When we generate wisdom, we can transform our patterns to something that is more complete, something that reflects more the objective reality of life, of the things as they are. Can help us to follow the laws of the universe and to experience more well-being, freedom, more true love or self-love, more wisdom, and having a bigger purpose and a bigger understanding of life. These are the gifts of the universe to us. The love of the universe that is a constant in all the universe is present everywhere, is the essence of the universe itself. And everything will become a manifestation of that love, a manifestation of that wisdom, if we are not stubborn. And we can receive that love and that wisdom if we are not stubborn. If we don't think we know it all, if we don't think that we are always right, and so on. And of course, if we start to look inward for what is really important in life, if we stop to search for things in the wrong place. So, change is needed in all levels of life, in society, in the planet, and change, the opportunity to change, is constantly happening everywhere. There is not a moment that is the same like before. Every moment is new and fresh and is full of infinite possibilities. If we are not stubborn. When we are stubborn, we don't see that change at all, and we don't see opportunities at all. We become very arrogant and very fixed, and our ego will grow a lot. But that is not the reality of the universe. Embracing change, it's embracing the love of the universe, that it does give us infinite possibilities at every moment, at every fresh moment, including give us the opportunity of being the masters of our destiny, of our life. But to be able to do that, we need to transform the pattern of stubbornness so that our fixed way of living life will start to open up to be able to receive all these new blessings and opportunities that love and wisdom of the universe are constantly giving us. Okay. So this is the introduction to the pattern of stubbornness. It's just a small idea, and like in every course that we are doing about the patterns, we'll go from different stages of deepening the manifestation and the transformation of this pattern, from the basic understanding to the level of connecting this pattern with the true self, and understand how it influences with our true self and how our true self can help us with this pattern, to the last stage that to help us to follow the laws of the universe and use the laws of the universe to help us to transform this pattern. It's a very specific path to that. So this is why I don't say that I will not talk about the totality of this pattern, but it's a very good points or directions that you can use in your life to have a true understanding and to transform it in a very deep level. But that can only be done if you apply. So we are doing this for these 10 classes, and it's very important that you make this strong uh, commitment to do the best you can to gain more understanding and realizations about this pattern, and to bring wisdom from your true self to help you to transform this pattern into something that is more complete and that is healthier and goes more with the harmony and the wisdom of the universe. Okay, let's do a small integration of this class. So you just need to follow my instructions. Adjust yourself to a good position with your body centered. Look straight forward and slowly bring your awareness inward. Close your eyes and relax. 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 Go deep into your heart and connect with a state of trust, openness, love, gratitude, and Gonjing. With the five shin, open up and connect with your true self. Unify your heart, your true self, and your consciousness. Many patterns have influence and control our lives because of the lack of information. When they were created, they had lack of information, and because of that, even if they are doing the best to help us, the patterns reflect ignorance. And because of ignorance, we are having difficulties to find in the right place what we are really looking for. Things like happiness, well-being, health, wisdom, freedom, contribution, purpose, love, due to the limitations of our patterns, all these treasures and many others have been difficult to find them in their complete way. And although we have searching and wanting to change, that change has been difficult to manifest. And that has mostly to do with one pattern, the pattern of stubbornness. In order to remove this limitation, in the following days and weeks, we're going to put a very special focus in transforming this pattern so that we can release our potential to change our life in the most meaningful way, being guided by the wisdom of the true self and the support of the wisdom and love of the universe. We are now ready to start this journey of deep transformation and change. Open your arms to the sides, palms facing forward. Embrace all the positive information and chi, and bring it back to your heart. Put your hands in your heart and integrate all this positive information with the 5 Shin. Hands to the sides, and when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and willingness to make this work on this pattern that it's very difficult, but is very important, not just to transform this pattern, but also to help us to transform all the other patterns and bring more freedom to change our life. So next Thursday, on the Thursdays, we have the Zoom group meetings. It's open to everyone. I will send you the message with the Zoom links soon. And those meetings are meant for you to also get in touch with the other participants of this course and to have a chance to exchange ideas, experiences, knowledge, understanding with the other participants. And normally what I do is that I make a question and send a question for people to discuss in the group chat, in the Zoom group. If you don't want to come to the group, it's not mandatory, but it's always recommended to think about this question by yourself so that normally those questions work as a preparation for the next class. This course is created in this structure with having a lecture in 1 week, and next week will be for questions and answers. And you can put the questions in two ways. You can send me a question through email, and it's important that you put the title of question for the class on the email, because like that is easier to find those questions. And if you don't want to send an email, you can send on the live class. You have the chat where you can have a part for question and answers, and you can put the question there, or you can put on the chat directly so that everyone sees the question if you want. Or you also have an option to send the question privately on the chat of the webinar jam that we are using on this class. It's also important that you look to the dates of the class that I send you on the email of the announcement, and I will keep sending those classes, those dates on every email that I will send you with the links of the replay, because the classes will not be one class a week. There will be a few weeks where you'll have 2 classes. And after every class, I will also send you a YouTube replay that you'll have a private link that you can watch the class on YouTube platform. And it's easier sometimes to see it, and maybe with some better quality. So next class will be for questions and answers. You are very welcome to write your questions and send it to me, and I will answer on the next class. If not, you can just use the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. Send you lots of love and bright chi, and see you soon. Bye-bye.